Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Wong, and I want to welcome you guys to a Veritone webinar. Today's topic on AI for contact centers. Today we have Ryan Basler, VP of Marketing for our aiWARE business unit. Welcome, Ryan.
Hey there. Hi, Dana.
And we also have Aaron Daniel, Solutions Engineer for our aiWARE business unit. Welcome, Aaron.
Hey, thank you.
Before we begin today, I want to make sure if you guys have any questions throughout our demonstration or through our presentation, please feel free to put your questions in the chat box. With that said, I'm going to hand this off to Ryan. Ryan, back to you.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending today. Excited to tell you about our AI solutions around contact center automation. First off, I'm going to go ahead and just give you a quick overview of the Veritone organization. We're a leading enterprise provider of AI technology, and we have a proprietary and extensible platform called aiWARE that customers leverage, where they leverage an ecosystem of hundreds of ready-to-deploy AI models that make it easy to extract business value from unstructured data. So this could be video, audio, text, data, etc., and do it at scale in near real time without being an AI expert. So that's essentially what we do in a nutshell. We serve various industries that you can see here, and excited to tell you today about how aiWARE powers and fuels our contact center automation solutions. So first off, before we talk about those solutions, let's talk a little bit about the customer support challenge of today. And as we all know, remote demand, not surprisingly, is at an all-time high. Contact centers are really struggling to keep up with that demand. And as a result, we have some challenges to deal with today, whether it's agent burnout and overload, costs of per call, and of running a remote contact center, slow responsiveness, slow response to the customer requests, and of course, because of this, customer frustration. Missed upsell opportunities, right? When we don't know enough about the customer who's contacting us. And then customers who contact us over many different types of channels, and our inability to really handle those channels in a consistent and real-time way. So all of this adds up to a lot of frustration and really is burgeoning a new market around AI. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. The market for contact center AI has really exploded from nearly nothing in the mid 2010s up to 2.8 billion by 2024. So this represents almost a 30% CAGR over that time period from 2019 to 24. And really what's driving this growth is the ability to service customers 24/7 over any channel that they engage with, and be able to understand and provide enhanced services based on that understanding. So the AI market that we just talked about that's growing is really serving a need that we see in contact centers today around accessing data quickly to get a nice 360 view of the customer. Second, the ability to, now that we know who the customer is, quickly to resolve those cases in a rapid fashion. So this could be either assisting the agent with AI that provides the needed information about the customer and about the request, all the way to spanning self-service, which we'll talk about in a second. But really the need is to resolve those cases as rapidly and efficiently as possible. And then also AI is needed to better understand who we're servicing. So how can I know what the customer is asking for? How can I give them above and beyond what they're asking for? How do I know when they're maybe angry and they need to be handled in a very high priority and sensitive way? And then finally, there's a need to be able to support the channels by which the customers are contacting us. So how do we support someone who's maybe sending a text message to us, or maybe someone emailing, or a phone call, or a chat bot, or a social media post, right? There's all sorts of ways that customers can contact us these days, and we want to be able to service those requests in a very efficient way and a consistent way across channels. So these are some of the needs that AI really helps solve. And that's where Veritone comes in with our contact center automation solution. So excited to tell you all about this. So let's dive right in. Before we get into the solutions, I wanted to first off just help you understand who we're really addressing here. So if you're a customer support leader, if you're handling a customer service organization or a technical support organization, or even a customer service BPO, whatever those, whoever you are responsible for making sure that your customers are being serviced in the most pleasant and efficient way possible. So adding AI to your contact center allows you to uncover these insights that we just talked about, and insights specifically into customer conversations and what they're asking and what their intent is. So we'll talk about some of those technologies in a few minutes. But really the bottom line is we want to be able to get more insight into our customer interactions. And that insight will help us increase efficiency, it will help us reduce cost and resolution time, and it will improve the customer support experience. And then for the IT leader, contact center solutions from Veritone allow us to easily integrate with common contact center systems. And I believe Aaron is going to be addressing that later in the demonstration. And this is deployable on-prem or in a hybrid environment or in a public or private cloud. So we got you covered there for for deploying these solutions. And essentially, what I want you to take out of this is the insight that you need is being provided by Veritone and can easily integrate with whatever systems you currently have. Think of AI as adding intelligence to your standard contact center software that you're already running in your organization. So whether it's a Zendesk or a Five9 or whatever system that you might be using, this is adding and infusing that intelligence into those processes. So let's talk about some of those processes. So really, we're going to break down the benefits of the Veritone contact center solutions into three areas. First, assisting agents in doing that in real time. That's the key. Second would be getting some insight into our calls in aggregate. And then third, being able to self-service and provide that self-service for more common requests. So first, we're going to talk about assisting agents. So here in assisting agents, one aspect that AI can help with Veritone AI is to be able to, no matter what the channel is on the left, ingest the communication and then immediately identify who that customer is, and then look up that customer in our database and provide that 360-degree customer view that you can see here, for example. And one way we do that, and we'll talk about this in the demonstration, is by recognizing the customer's voice. So being able to have the customer's voice clip on file, and the minute that customer says a few words, we immediately, in real time, understand who that customer is and can provide that view to the agent. Another way we assist agents in real time is through transcription and translation of phone calls. So you can imagine if I want a readout of a voicemail, I can either listen to that voicemail, or it would be a lot easier just to get a transcription of that voicemail and be able to call out certain key points in that transcription. And we can do that across languages as well as transcribing multiple speakers in a conversation. We can do that as well. And again, it's providing kind of that record of a transcription that you can use for insight. Secondly, translation. This is really exciting stuff. Imagine that you have someone calling you, right, and they're speaking a different language, and before you might have to push different buttons, get routed to different areas. That's quite annoying. It would be really nice for what if a customer calls and speaks in their native tongue, and the agent who doesn't speak that language is hearing what this request is in the agent's own language? So there's real-time translation going on here, and vice versa, right? If the agent wants to ask the customer a question or is requesting information, that question can be real-time translated so that the customer can then understand it. So it's doing all of this in real time. Another way we can assist agents in real time with AI is, and this is very, very cool stuff, to be able to take an email, for example. This is just one example, but it could be from any channel, and understanding exactly, using AI to not just ingest, but then understand what is it that the customer is really requesting. So providing a summary of the request. This could be 5-6 paragraphs. In some cases, it could be a lot of text for an agent to have to read through. So wouldn't it be nice to have a summarization of what this request is all about? And the topic. What is the topic, so that we can then categorize it automatically? What is the intent? What are they trying to accomplish? In this case, they want their account information to be updated. What about sentiment? Well, really frustrated tells us that this is not a very happy customer. And so that angry sentiment can then be identified automatically and routed to the right place. Attachments are also an interesting way to gain insight with AI. So we can run license plate detection, in this case, make, model, vehicle, colors, things like this. In this case, this was an insurance policy request. So you can use your imagination. Any kind of information that's been attached, if it's a video attachment, a text attachment, an image attachment, we can apply AI to get insight and information from those attachments automatically. So why is this all helpful? Because this saves a ton of time for the agent, as you can imagine. And then also the customer can be routed appropriately based on that request. So the second thing we want to talk about is understanding trends. So in this case, understanding trends is more of a non-real-time case versus we just talked a lot of real-time aspects. Here, it's bringing together multiple calls, aggregating it, analyzing it, and understanding what are the common reasons that customers contact us. What are the topics that they ask? What help is needed? What are the specific help topics by customer? Maybe we have a key customer. We want to know which, for that particular customer, what are they calling about, and what are the issues they're calling about most and that they need help with? And what locations are they calling from? Things like this. In addition, we can look at maybe product lines. What products are giving us angry phone calls, and which products are giving us happy phone calls? So we can look at sentiment. We can look at languages, see which languages are used and which channels are used of engagement, and which ones are most common, which ones are least common. And we can also detect PII. This is good for compliance to make sure that the information that's collected is being put in the right place if it is sensitive. And then the final aspect of the three areas we're going to talk about with Veritone's contact center AI solutions is around self-service. So this allows for more common and menial tasks to offload the agent who's already very, very busy from these types of requests. So it could be a standard request on information or a password reset or whatever the case may be. These are kind of self-service things that can be handled through chatbot. A recommended next best action. So this could be maybe an article that's being posted that is provided to the customer. So, Mr. Customer, we think that based on your question, these are the articles that could help, and hopefully this is going to satisfy them, and self-service has been accomplished. And then finally, generating support tickets. So this could be something where the request comes in, and instead of the help desk agent taking precious time to actually generate that ticket manually, based on the request, that ticket could be automatically generated and handled. So last slide here, and then we'll show you a demonstration of some of this in action. This is a screenshot of our product called Automate Studio. And what Automate Studio is it's essentially a low-code tool that allows you to string together inputs, AI engines, and outputs into a workflow, and be able to integrate this resulting workflow and ingest the results into your systems for use and insight. So first, on the left, you have omni-channel ingestion. So this could be one of many different channels of ingestion of that content. Maybe it's a voice call, maybe it's an email, it's a text message, it's a social post. And then the AI models then operate on that content. And then finally, the third step there is integrating the results and insight back into your systems, your contact center systems that need that insight. So that's a very, very high level overview. And now I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Aaron Daniel, and he can show us a demonstration of some of these contact center solutions. Aaron?
Awesome, thanks, Ryan. Let me just share my screen. Perfect, all righty. So hello, everybody. So what I want to show you here, as Ryan mentioned, is Automate Studio. So what we're looking at here is an example flow that is actually used by our customers. And what this basically does is ingests media from multiple sources, potentially Ring Central, a chatbot, social media, and then runs audio fingerprint analysis on that. So what that's going to do is basically use the biometric data like voice frequency to identify who's actually speaking. So we run that voice print through a Salesforce extraction. And then if we identify the person speaking, we're able to actually pull their data from Salesforce so the customer service agent can view that on their screen in real time. If we don't identify the individual, then we will go ahead and save the record of their voice and then attach that to a new Salesforce profile. Moving on, we then run transcription on the call or whatever type of media we're ingesting, and then run speaker separation. So what that's going to do is we're going to start with transcription, which will give us just a big block paragraph. Then when we do speaker separation, we'll see that that paragraph is actually split apart so we can see speaker A, speaker B, and what they're saying individually. We'll also be able to name the speaker, assuming we're able to grab their Salesforce data in this part of the flow. Then we move forward and we run sentiment analysis and churn intent analysis. So what that's going to do is give us insight into how the customer is feeling, as well as how the customers felt on previous calls. So say we have a customer whose previous call had a very low sentiment score, and the flag for for churn intent analysis was true. So what that likely means is that the customer is highly likely to churn and to potentially want to leave our service. So using words like unsubscribe, not renew, for example. So what we would do with that is we would then use that information to route the call from that customer to a specialized agent who is there specifically for customers like this to make sure that they get the type of care that they're looking for so that they don't actually end up leaving our platform. Next, we also want to run content analytics. So what that's doing is basically understanding what it is the individual is saying so that we can run that through our resolution recommendation engine. So what ends up happening is as the customer is speaking, the customer service agent is receiving recommendations on what they may want to utilize, resources that they can give the customer, for example, live being sent to their computer screen. So the benefit there is that rather than focusing on doing a search or looking for solutions for the customer, they can focus on the customer alone, which means you get a better customer experience and a faster experience, meaning that the agent can handle more customers in a given work period. Last thing we're going to do here is then run a Zendesk ticket creation. So basically, we're parsing through that speaker separated transcript and extracting the valuable metrics that we'll want to save to a record later on. So today, a customer service agent would have to do that themselves. As they're speaking with the customer, they have to be creating this ticket as well, which again extends the length of the call as well as detracts from the agent's ability to communicate with the customer effectively. So this is going to automate that so they can focus purely on the customer. So then finally, we're going to grab all that data, pull it together, and then export it in one of many different ways. For the purposes of this flow, it's just sending it to an email to me so that I can easily sort of demo it. In practice, though, in the field, we can send this anywhere. We can send it back to Ring Central. We can use it to divert a call to a different agent. So in this case, route to escalation management. It doesn't really matter. We can send the data wherever we want. Okay, so enough talk. Let's go ahead and run this. It's just going to take a second as we see it processing. So we have a preloaded call here. So this would represent like a voicemail. However, we can also do this just as easily live. So as a call is routed from a customer, we can be ingesting it and running all these processes as the conversation is going on, which is how those live resolution recommendations work. All right, so I should have an email now with the output. Let's go ahead and take a look. I might need to refresh here. There we go, cool. So let's see what we got. All right, so we have our Veritone cognitive results. So we have that detected support ticket that we spoke about. So this is that Zendesk ticket creation node. So we have the key information here, which was specified prior to the building of this flow, of course. So we have that specified here. We have the employee name, the customer name, the call purpose, order contents, etc. And then we also have that transcription, which is the speaker separated transcription. So we have not just the speaker separated transcript here, but it also has the customer name because we were able to extract that from Salesforce. Scrolling down a bit, we go ahead and look at the sentiment analysis. So we see positive, friendly, conversational, relaxed. We're also able to generate pure sentiment scores. So that's really up to our customer what they want to see. But we can do so we can extract more specific sentiments like you see here, like actual words, or just positive or negative values. Next, we look at the churn intent analysis. So churn wasn't detected. Didn't really see any alarming keywords combined with a low sentiment score. So that churn intent analysis is false. And then finally, we see the content analytics and recommendations. So if we were to go through the transcript of this call, we see that the customer was looking to purchase the 7-inch spotlight. So that was picked up, and the resolution recommendation engine handed off the frequently asked questions, the quick start, and the troubleshooting guide to the agent, as well as the customer's Salesforce profile with all of their information. All right, so that's all I have for you for the demo. Ryan, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to you.
Okay. All right, great. So at this point, thanks, Aaron. That was really good. At this point, let's go ahead and open it up for questions. So Daniel, do we have any questions on the board?
Absolutely. There's some questions that came in during the presentation. The first question here looks like a question for Aaron. Aaron, the question is, what contact center systems do you integrate with?
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, so we can integrate with basically any contact center. So even if it's not one that we have that we currently integrate with, we're able to build that integration for Automate. So that's no problem. Just as a few examples of what we use today, we integrate with Zendesk, SF, Freshdesk, as well as Five9.
Great. Another question that came in, I think this one's going to be for Mr. Basler, is which engines do you support on your AI platform?
Yeah, a great question. So this is all powered by the aiWARE platform, which is essentially an ecosystem of hundreds of different AI models that are ready to deploy. So you don't have to be an AI expert, right? We've kind of identified the best of breed engines and from multiple different vendors, including ourselves. We have our own proprietary engines on there. And these can do many of the things we've talked about today, right? So they can do transcription, translation, and text analytics. We can process audio files, do speaker separation. We can process video and identify faces, objects based on trained models. So yeah, it really spans the spectrum of video, audio, images, and text. Really unstructured data, right? So that's what all these solutions are actually built on is this aiWARE platform that I just described.
Great. It looks like another question here. It might be the last one that we have. I don't see any other ones in the chat box, but this one looks like it's for Aaron. What does a typical contact center AI project look like?
Oh, okay, it's a good one. Yeah, so typically, so we have a customer come to us with a desire basically to automate some or as many of the processes as they can within their contact center. So we would begin the process with discovery. So we want to know first off what kind of media is being used, right? Is it a phone? Are we talking social media? Or is it emails? Maybe images are being uploaded. Then we want to know the insights that the customer wants to uncover about those, right? So are they trying to detect faces? Are they trying to identify a churn and low sentiment or high sentiment, etc.? And then, of course, the business outcomes are important, right? So we need to know what do they want to achieve? What are their business outcomes, right? Are they trying to speed up the rate at which agents are able to speak with their customers? Or are they trying to decrease churn, etc.? So then based on those responses, we start by designing a workflow, much like you saw with Automate, with the cognition that's required for those required outcomes. Then we pilot and test that flow. So we actually do the integration, plug it into the customer's system, make sure that everything is working, and then we basically iterate until it's production ready, right? So we keep running tests, we scale up, and any issues that come up along the way, we fix them, and we keep reiterating, keep iterating until we're ready to go. And then that's it, the solution's in place.
That's great. Now, this solution can be implemented either from a professional services standpoint from Veritone, as well as the customer can do it themselves if they have developers and so forth. Is that correct, Ryan Basler?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly right. So in fact, what Aaron just demoed is our Automate Studio product, which really provides a low-code way of accessing all of those aiWARE engines that I just described a couple of minutes ago. So yeah, it's something we can do for you, or you can, if you have development expertise, you don't have to be an AI expert by any means. That's the whole value of our platform. So yeah, either way.
That's great. Well, that seems to be all the questions that we have today in the chat box. Ryan, I want to thank you again today for sharing with us how AI can be implemented in contact centers and provide actionable insights. Aaron, Daniel, thank you for that wonderful demonstration on Automate Studio and the power of that application. Like you guys said, it's a low-code application that allow you to create new workflows within your existing contact center workflows and enabling cognitive processes that was never there before, and it's great. But again, I want to thank you both for being here today and sharing that with us.
Great, thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Absolutely. And again, on behalf of Ryan and Aaron, my name is Daniel Wong, and I want to thank you again for joining us today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, and bye-bye now.